North and South, shift the burden of the Negro problem to the Negro's shoulders and stand aside as critical and rather pessimistic spectators, when in fact the burden belongs to the nation. The hands of none of us are clean if we bend not our energies to righting these wrongs. So what is he saying? He's saying that he's got an issue because folks have basically said we've elevated and moved beyond saying that us as black folk have a problem. We have moved beyond saying us as black folk have an issue that's a national problem. We said now that that's on you. It's not systemic. That's what he's saying. When did he write this in Souls of Black Folks? When did he write that? Anybody? Thank you so much, Justin. I mean, good gracious. This is not class, but I'm going to treat you like it. So if you notice in the bottom right-hand corner, anytime I have a slide, I'm going to show you the picture of the book that I'm speaking from. So many of you want to be smart. So if you want to be smart, you got to start cracking books open, right? So how you want it. That's condescending, right? That's what y'all say, but it's the truth. We sit here and we talk about things. We don't know page numbers. We don't even know what the cover looks like. So I'm helping you out now, okay? So since we know that, I want to talk about some problems that I have. And the first problem that I have, and I know I'm going to turn most of you off by saying this, is I've got a problem with Beyonce.
Thank you, girl.
I've got a problem with Beyonce because I'm going to be honest with you. This could have been us, but she was playing. And we were 17 years old in this picture. My first National Journalism Award actually came from a story I did on Destiny's Child when it was really Beyonce and them. All right, let me get serious with you. I do have a real problem, though, ladies and gentlemen, when we think about our U.S. criminal justice system. We have an issue that from 1965 to roughly 2000, we've seen a swell in incarceration rates that have gone about 600% increase from 1965 to 2000. I've got a problem with that. I've got a problem because in this year of 1965, that was supposedly the time frame in which we'd already seen the passage of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. We had seen the passage of the Voter Registration Act. But throughout this time, they made your existence more criminal. I have a problem with that. I've got a problem with the enterprise that we see as this U.S. criminal justice system, a $212 billion system that employs 2.4 million people, more than McDonald's and Walmart combined. $212 billion industry, and seemingly we have black men as their product. I've got a problem with that. I've got a problem with our education system. 52% of black males graduate high school. You can flip a coin to figure that out. Roughly 1 to 2 odds, 50%. White males, 68% of white males are graduating high school. I've got a problem with that. And according to one of the scholars, they say at this rate, it would take 50 years for black students, and black males particularly, to graduate at the same rate as white males. I've got a problem with that. I've got a problem that 14% of our 8th graders are actually achieving proficiency on their tests. 14%. I've got a problem with that. I hadn't got you yet. I've got a problem with our infant mortality rates here in this country when we think about health. Look at this rate. Look at this number that starts in 1920. Numbers don't matter right now, but the proportion does. From 1920 to 1980, the infant mortality rates for black to white is still 2 to 1. Today, it's still 2 to 1. I've got a problem with that. I've got a problem because when we think about cancer rates, we think about this 1 1 American dies every minute of every day due to cancer. 1 American dies every minute of every day due to cardiovascular disease. Every 21 seconds, an American is diagnosed with diabetes. But the problem comes because within that minute, within those 21 seconds, they're more than likely going to look like I do. I've got a problem with that. I've got a problem that we haven't seen or understood the connection between this hoodie and seeing the connection between this hoodie. I've got a problem that this hoodie isn't labeled a thug. I've got a problem that this hoodie has killed way more people than allegedly a lot of the young men that wore the hoodie you've seen before have. But they're able to walk around free while people like me get the stiff eyes and grabbing your purses if I don't have on my nice suit. I've got a problem with that. So understanding that I revisit Du Bois, and a little further in Souls of Black Folks, he makes a pointed statement that I want to go in on today, and I want to really, really talk to you about this. So I want to know, can I keep it real?
Go ahead, do your thing.
That was a test, and y'all just failed. Can I keep it real?
Go ahead, do your thing.
So what he says is we cannot settle this problem. We cannot settle this problem. We cannot settle this problem by diplomacy, being nice. We cannot settle this problem by diplomacy and suaveness. I know you want to look good and have all the nice new stuff, but your clothes aren't changing anything. I know you want to look good. Suaveness by policy alone. If worse come to worse, can the moral fiber of this country survive the slow throttling and murder of 9 million men? Let's back up. Can this country survive the slow throttling and murder of Trayvon Martin? Can this country survive the murder of that young man who was just trying to get help from the cops, but yet they can get off even on a first indictment? Y'all don't read the news, I forgot. That wasn't on Facebook, but so I've got a problem. So what I want to do is we talked about the issues. Now I don't want this to be a depressing speech. So I'm going to try and help you and walk you through some of the solutions to this problem. Okay? But in order to do that, I'm going to take you back to grade school. I wasn't a math man. All right? That's why I majored in history. I wasn't a math man. Hello? That wasn't a math man. See, we were in my class, we would have had a problem. So I know many of you have come here to the University of Florida to be a problem solver for many of those things that we just looked at. Many of you have come from communities in which those very problems are not just something we see on a piece of paper, but these are things that you experience every day. I understand that and I believe that, but I also believe that we as leaders have to dedicate ourselves to solving these problems. We as leaders have to dedicate ourselves to a lot of these movements that we've seen over this time. Harlem Renaissance is a theme for this night. And the thing I want you to understand is during that time, they did stuff that was uncomfortable. During the Civil Rights Movement, they did things that were uncomfortable. During Reconstruction, they did things that were uncomfortable. And I'm watching us walk around this campus, and we're far too easy. We're far too comfortable because we think that because we're at the University of Florida, we've already made it. What's your problem? What are you here to solve? I know many of us are sitting here and you're thinking, oh, I'm good. I'm the first one in my family to go to college. And you think because you've been admitted, that means you're going to graduate. What's your problem and what are you going to solve? We think that because our presence is here, that means automatic productivity, and that is wrong. What is your problem? So in order for us to try and solve some of these issues that we've been talking about, I want to take you to basic math. Right? So we're not going to do the hard calculus and all that kind of stuff. All you math people, it's not going down today. All right? So I'm just going to be honest with you. But the thing I do want you to do, I want you to work with me. So what we have is an equation, an algebraic equation. How many of y'all remember algebra? Put your hands up. Look at all y'all showing off. Took me 4 or 5 days to look up algebra. It's been so long, I can't even remember. So I had to go back to the basics. And I think if you understand the basics of algebra and solving an algebraic equation, I think that is the best parallel to talk about how we can start solving some of the issues in our communities. So I want you to walk with me. I want you to talk with me, and I want you to think through this. So the first thing that you have to do to solve an algebraic problem is you have to combine like terms. Work with me. Think with me. You got to combine like terms. So many of us are leaders. So many of us feel like we're moving forward and doing different things, but sadly we're doing it all on our own. Get with people who are like you. Get with people who can help you. And sadly, we get in this weird moment where our skin folk got to be the only folks we hang around. And there's a lot of likenesses in us that we don't acknowledge. There are a lot of people that we turn off every single day because we don't look alike. But you know, if you prick me, will I believe? It makes me laugh when I see people when we talk about things, and I'll never forget a man used a word. He didn't know I was smart. And he used a word, and I actually don't remember what it was because I was so stuck on how stupid he was. But he said something, and then I started smiling because he was trying to be funny because he didn't think anybody else knew what he was saying. And I started laughing, and he says, "Oh, you know what that means?" And you know, can I keep it real? Who is you talking to? But I had to, you have to get yourself together. But I think a lot of times we find ourselves in this weird moment where there are things that we have to do, there are problems that we have to solve, but in order to do that, you have to know who your allies are. But more importantly, y'all get off of Facebook and Twitter talking about your haters all day. That is just ridiculous. Like, let's be real. Like, outside of the rights and maybe what you do, on Friday evenings at Cantina, don't nobody really pay you no mind. All right? Let's be real now. Combine like terms. Stop talking about your haters and start emphasizing and looking at the people who actually support you. The second thing that you need to do, and this is a powerful point and I don't want you to miss it when it comes to solving an algebraic problem and solving the problems of today's leaders in 2014, you must identify what you're solving. What is your purpose? Identify what you are solving. What are you here to do? Identify what you are solving. Why is it that every time I see some of y'all, you never have a book in your hand? You go to class borrowing pieces of paper. I just don't get it. What is your purpose? What is your purpose? Right? We sit back here and we're talking about leadership. Trayvon Martin, when he died, and I remember I got all these phone calls, all y'all wanted me to do the rallies. I remember this now. And if I'm lying, I'm flying, and I ain't moving like the old people say, right? I got all these phone calls. Come to the rally. We want you to speak. We're going to have a meeting, and I want to sit down and we're going to plan this out. And I'm like, let's do it. Y'all know I'm radical. I'm crazy, right? So I get to the meeting, and I look around, and the first thing I was doing was trying to combine like terms. So I was looking for like terms. And when I was sitting in those meetings for like terms, I didn't see like terms in what I thought were like terms because I thought y'all should have been mad. And then when I was in the meeting, all I saw were like terms. And then I was trying to figure out, well, wait a minute. Where are you, leaders of the black community? I'm sorry, that was wrong. I apologize. What is your purpose? And sometimes when you have to figure out your purpose, and I always said this like right after the verdict came out with Zimmerman, I said that sometimes it takes heartbreak to find your heartbeat. Sometimes it takes heartbreak to find your heartbeat. And a lot of people were heartbroken that day. But I think it let us know and it gave us a subtle reminder that our presence is not looked at the same way. And not much has changed since the boys wrote. Not much has changed since that 14th Amendment and the 15th Amendments came down, which is why they had to pass the Civil Rights Act and the 1965 Voter Registration Act, because not much changed. So what I'm asking you is, what's your purpose? What are you trying to solve for? But next I want to get into something that I think is something really odd. Don't jump too fast on this. You want to isolate the variable on one side. Now I'm going to tell y'all, this is what happened to me. This is a real story now. Now, I don't even remember the lady's name now that I think about it. She was pregnant, I just remember that. But we were going through and I was doing my math homework. And as I'm doing my math work in class, y'all know I was slow with the math. So I called my teacher and I said, excuse me, Miss Lady, who I can't remember your name, I got to ask you a question. I said, I can't figure out how to solve this equation. And she said, well, it's pretty simple from here because you've already moved the variable on one side. You set it aside and you put it by itself. So now, all the stuff on the other side gives you everything you need to solve your problem. All right. When you as leaders approach problems, you have to start setting aside those things that you're ready and want to change. Education, you're ready and want to change some of these policies here at UF. Set that aside and look within yourself and realize that you have everything you need to solve these issues. More importantly, I want to say this to you, to my black and my brown, my white, blue, purple people. You are enough. You are enough. A lot of you think that you have to be Dr. King and you got to be Malcolm X and then you got to be Stokely Carter. You don't have to do all of that. Do what you can do, but do it well. Whenever you step out and go somewhere and do something, you do it well because you have everything you need to solve these issues. The University of Florida has given you all so much and I'm thankful for it. They've given me so much and I'm thankful for it. But it's up to you to do something with it and understand that you are enough. Next, almost done. The thing that you need to do is make sure that once you find that answer, this is deep, that you substitute the answer back into the problem. How many of y'all remember that when you found the answer? Y'all used to cheat. Once you got the answer, you're like, woo, I'm done, I'm out. Right? But what you're supposed to do is take that answer and plug it back into the problem, make sure it's correct, and then move on to the next one. Are you ready for this? A lot of y'all come to UF and you never go back home. A lot of y'all are ready to go to Harvard so you can never come back to UF. A lot of y'all want to sit back and talk about how you're the one that made it, but you never want to say what's up to them very same people that fought for you so you didn't have to get suspended from school. You have to get your answer, but you got to make sure you plug it back into the problem so you are a solution in your community. You got to get those things and plug it back in so that you can actually say, I tried to help. Because what we do right now is we stand back and be like, look at them. Now look at us. When you go to the mall and you see our people cutting up, acting a fool when it's not you. Because it's so funny how when it's you, you can talk loud. But when it's somebody else, you're like, look at them, they're just And usually when it's them, it's probably me. And I'll be honest with you, it's usually me because I'm the loud one. But I laugh because for some reason we disconnect ourselves and we forget that we do have things that we can bring to the table. Why not plug them back in? I'm about to mess some of y'all up. Why is it so hard for black folk on this campus to speak to each other? Oh, my bad. Can I keep it real? I have never, ever been in a situation where I can walk past somebody when on a campus of 50-some-odd thousand people. I finally see somebody who makes me feel like I'm back at home. And I'm like, what's up, bro? They're like,
For real.
and, don't look at me like I'm short now because I got an attitude problem. And then I get mad. And then I want to go off on you because you didn't speak to me. But now I'm hating on you and then you're going to put me on Twitter. It's a bad sight. So make sure that you're substituting back in the problem, and here's my last point. My last point is simple. The reason I failed so many of my math homework, I never failed the test, I always failed the homework, and I don't know if y'all feel me on this, but how many of y'all would do the first 10 problems and be like, man, I don't feel like showing no more work? Oh, it used to just bother me. My teacher would come back and hand me my paper, show work. Show work. You know, it's like, come on, lady. Like, I did the first 10. Why didn't you do the last 40? Like, you did it. Right? So, the thing that we have to remember as leaders is once you solve the problem, once you've gotten through it, you've moved those variables, you've done everything that you need to do, you got to show your work. It's not just for correction's sake, right? It's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than whether you got it right or wrong. It's for the people who come after you. Folks need to see what you're doing. And I'm just smiling because we do things and we don't want to talk to people. Let me tell y'all something. I'm gonna have a gripe. I'm busy. Now, y'all heard all the grants and stuff I'm running, and they're real, right? It's not like I'm just saying I'm busy like some of y'all do to just try and make me like, oh my gosh, I'm busy. I'm sorry I couldn't email you back. Like, I mean, I don't care. Like, that's one less email I got to worry about. So I'm good, right? But the thing that always bothers me, now I got a grant that runs in 7 different cities. We got another project going on with churches. I got another project happening right now that we just signed up. I wish I could have done this earlier. So if y'all were STEM students and you were underrepresented minorities, we would give you $1,500 just for coming to a meeting once a month and working with us. But sadly, I had to beg people. And this is what I got a problem with y'all with, because I got to beg you to be in these programs, right? I got to beg you. Like, I got to beg you to fill out a one-page application. Okay, $1,500. So, here's my issue. Y'all stick with me, because what I'm going to say might get me in trouble, and that's all right. But it's fine. And I decided that I've been going over this all day, and I was like, do I really want to tell y'all? Do I want to teeter the line, or do I want to be honest? Can I keep it real? So I thought about it. I said, let me go ahead and say this, because showing your work is about an authenticity, right? It's about, because you remember when you used to cheat on tests? Oh, y'all didn't cheat? When you used to cheat on homework, and it was math, and all you used to do was plug in the answer, right? And the reason you didn't get credit because you didn't show your work. So you're like, I got the answer, and your teacher's like, no, you didn't show your work. Let me explain this to you. Just because you get a degree from the University of Florida doesn't mean your life is over and you're good and you can lay up and sit back and kick your feet back. It's time to show your work. Just because when I finish this PhD, you call me doctor instead of Mr. Jenkins, it's going to feel great and good, but guess what? I still got to show my work. Just because you think you are big stuff and you want to go home and walk up in your mama or your daddy house or your big mama house and act crazy, you still got to do her work, because your work don't really matter when you go home. So I'm trying to get you into a framework that you understand that being a leader is about showing your work. Let me switch that word a little bit. Showing your worth. Too many of us come here for pomp and circumstance. And when times get hard, when troubles get hard, we walk away. When all of a sudden ASU don't want to holler at BSU or Jansen don't like Calypso, y'all need to get over it. Show your work. Show your work. I know y'all were expecting me to come at you. What is it? Hold on, I gotta do this every time. Don't sing for me. What is it? Don't. Well, how y'all know that and you don't know, can I keep it real? Show your worth. All of these little things that divide this community, they're killing this community at the University of Florida, but there's so many people that are waiting on you. There's so many people that are waiting on your research. They're waiting on you to get that credential so that you can go out and show your worth. Show your work. So are y'all ready to show your work? Yes. If y'all ready to show your work, let me hear you say relentless.
Relentless.
Let me hear you say relentless.
Relentless.
Let me hear you say relentless.
Relentless.
I've given y'all everything I've got. I almost sweated out my Easter suit. Let me hear you say relentless.
Relentless.
Let me tell y'all something. There was a story of a little boy the name of B.T. who grew up during the times of slavery. He grew up during this time, and all of a sudden he was trying to find his way, trying to find exactly where he should or should not go. He found himself going to his mother, and he said, Mama, I want to read. I need to read. And she says, I need you to go to your daddy and ask him. And he says, Daddy, I want a book. I want to read. I want to be educated. And his father said, son, as long as you live in this house, you don't need that education. So on his birthday, his mother ended up buying him a book, and then he got that book, and it further fueled his educational fire. And he goes back to his father, and he says, Daddy, I want to go to school. And his father says, son, as long as you live in this house, you won't question me. You don't need that white man's education. But who would have ever known that little B.T. would go on to go and be a stellar student at the Hampton Institute, and then come on to lead the helm at Tuskegee? Who would have ever known that that little B.T. would be the Booker T. Washington that we know today? You got to be relentless. You can't stop just because somebody tells you no. You can't stop just because somebody looks at you funny or you don't feel at home at UF. You still got to persevere because people in your community are waiting on you. You've got problems and you've got to solve them. The next thing you got to do is you got to be what? Rare. Y'all say rare.
Rare.
You got to be rare. Say rare.
Rare.
Now, I understand the new days. Now, I get it because I used to do it too. I'm a little bit older than y'all. A little bit. That's what I'm going to lie and say, a little bit. And y'all know, like, it's a struggle for me to keep up with all y'all dances because, you know, I just learned the Dougie, and apparently you don't do that no more. So I just got to the, you know what I'm talking about? So I was like, hey, and they were like, bruh, right? But it's so funny to me how we try and fit a mold. Let me tell you, if you want to keep up with popular times, you're always going to be left behind. The thing about you that's rare is 9 times out of 10 that thing that got you to the University of Florida. Don't you give that up. You be rare and you mean it. You be rare and you own it. It's all right. I remember, y'all don't do this no more because Michael Jordan and Wesley Snipes saved my life. But, you know, growing up, when I did, because y'all 90s babies, when you look like me, you got called everything in the book from smoke. See, y'all don't know. She knows. That's when she started laughing. My grandmama called me Black Boy. Well, called me Black Boy. And my cousin called me Smokey. And I grew up with a complex about my skin tone. You know what I'm saying? It was one of the things that, you know, I really believed in my head, like, hey, there's something wrong with how dark you are. And then one day, it hit me. This girl, she said, she said, oh, how tall, dark, and handsome. So, hey, I didn't really play all that. Hey, you talking about me? No, let me just know what's going on here. Hey, listen. And it hit me. I was like, wait a minute. Just because one person don't like it, don't mean that everybody doesn't like it. Something in you somebody likes, but if you don't like it, it doesn't matter. Be rare and own it. Ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you this all day long. It doesn't matter how relentless you are, it doesn't matter how rare you are, but if you're not ready when your opportunities come, it will pass you by. A lot of us are sitting out here waiting on somebody to come and tap us on the shoulder and christen us to be the next whoever. Don't wait on it, go get it. Don't wait on it, go get it. Don't wait on it, go get it. The thing I can say to you every time I think about this, the actions of so many of our leaders does not meet the reality of our problems. The actions of so many of our leaders does not meet the reality of our problems. Ladies and gentlemen, you can do all of this pretty stuff all day long, but when you act, you better be decisive and you need to be ready. Because some people ain't gonna like it. They're gonna come at you. The same people that you told everything that you were gonna do, they go back and tell the man everything that you're gonna do, and you're wondering why there's so many people standing there like, well, hey, so we hear you're trying to plan a rally. Yeah, so that's not gonna happen. And then what do? I told y'all it wasn't gonna work. I'm not gonna get in trouble. I'm not gonna say it. All right, I'll say it. Can I keep it real?
Go ahead,
Can I keep it real?
Go ahead, do your thing.
Just because people pull funding from your programs.
All right now, brother.
Just because they pull funding from your programs, because they don't understand your culture, doesn't mean you throw your hands up and quit. You fight for your culture. Just because they sit back and say, and I don't have a problem with the organizations that fund everybody. I'm in Blue Key. I get it. It's real. Right? So when I walk in the meeting, they're like, and you know, I'm looking at them like, yeah, I'm here. I didn't put Ahmaad on my application, I put A. Let's not think about that. Hey. But just because people don't understand you doesn't mean they don't like you. It's your job to sell yourself, to sell your community, to sell your problems so you can get your solution. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Kevin Jenkins coming to you by way of the large metropolitan city of Jacksonville, North Carolina. Letting you know they might have told me I'd never be anything. They might have even told me that I wouldn't make it this far. But it's so funny how a day change and how a moment can work. How a little bit of heartbreak can help me find my heartbeat. And the thing I truly understand and believe about the people that are sitting in this room, that I know you all have a problem, but I also believe the solutions are right here. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Love this song.